Hello friends. Okay, so we were in the chapter of factorization, so let us continue with the same. So here is the next question. Okay, if you remember that in last lecture we were solving the questions factorization related to the identity a square minus b square, so we'll continue with the same. So here very first question is we have to find the factors only. So x 100x plus y whole square minus 81 a plus b whole square minus 81 a plus b whole square. So here you can see this 100 is a complete square and x plus y is by default, as it is given, it is a complete square. Here 81 is also a complete square. So first I will do write in the form of a complete square. So let us see its solution. It is 100 x plus y whole square minus 81 a plus b whole square. So this can be written as 10 x plus y whole square, isn't it? This is 10x plus y whole square minus, here it is 9a plus b whole square. Okay, so now here it is exactly the identity of a square minus b square. But before I move further, here I will multiply. So I do write 10x plus 10y whole square minus 9a plus 9b whole square. So now a square minus b square. So a plus, this is a plus b. Okay, this is a plus b in first bracket. Now in second bracket I do write a minus b, that is 10x plus 10y, that is a minus 9a plus 9b y. A plus b, a minus b. So here I do write 10x plus 10y plus 9a plus 9b. Okay, as there is a plus sign outside the bracket, so these two quantities or the numbers remains with the same sign. Over here it will become 10x plus 10y minus 9a minus 9b. As minus sign is there, the both positive term will become negative term. So now here you can see there isn't any like terms. For example, it is not possible to add 10x and 9a, to add 10x and 9b. So this remains as it is. So this is my final answer. So please note it down, then we'll see the next question. Okay, so now next question is x raised to 8 minus y raised to 8. Next question is x raised to 8 minus y raised to 8. So again, if you can see, definitely here it is not possible to apply directly any identity, but definitely this x raised to 8 is a complete square, this y raised to 8 is a complete square. So we do write these two in the form of complete square, and then I apply the identity. So here x raised to 8 can be written as x raised to 4 square minus y raised to 4 square. Okay, so this will become x raised to 4 plus y raised to 4, isn't it? A square minus b square, that is a plus b, a minus b. So a plus b into a minus b. Okay, now here plus sign is there, so it is not possible to factorize it further, but here minus sign is there. So whenever we find the minus sign between two terms, we'll check whether those two terms are able to write in the complete form, complete square or not. So here definitely this x raised to 4 can be written as a form of a complete square, as well as this y raised to 4 can be written as a complete square. So I do write over here x square square minus y raised to 2 square. So here I do get x raised to 4 plus y raised to 4. Over here again a square minus b square, so a plus b. Okay, a plus b, a plus b, then a square, a minus b, a minus b, a plus b, a minus b. Okay, so this x raised to 4 plus y raised to 4 as it is, x square plus y square as it is. Now again over here it's a minus sign, and they are directly, we can see, are in a form of complete square. So again I can write this as x plus y into x minus y. So these are the factors of the given expression. So please note it down, then we'll see the next question. Okay, so now we'll see the next question, that is a raised to 12. Okay, next question is a raised to 12 x raised to 4. A raised to 12 x raised to 4 minus a raised to 4 x raised to 12. Okay, so let us see its solution. So see, definitely these two terms are not the complete squares. Okay, although it is possible to write this, I can write a raised to 6 x square raised to 2, that is possible. But before that, before I apply that identity, here we can observe that they have something common. Okay, so first I take whatever is common. So here you can see, here we have a raised to 12, here a raised to 4. Definitely a raised to 4 can be taken common, so I took a raised to 4 common. As soon as I take a raised to 4 common, also you can see this has x raised to 4, here we have x raised to 12. So along with a raised to 4, I can take common as x raised to 4 as well. So here I will left with a raised to 8 minus x raised to 8. And this expression, just right now we saw how to solve this type of expression. Over there it was x raised to 8 minus y raised to 8. So this is almost similar, only this thing was different. So here I am solving it completely. This a raised to 4 whole square minus x raised to 4 whole square. Okay, further it can be written as a raised to 4 plus x raised to 4 into a raised to 4 minus x raised to 4. Now again this can be written as in the form of difference of squares. So this will become a raised to 4 x raised to 4 a raised to 4 plus x raised to 4. Here a square square minus x square square. Okay, so a raised to 4 x raised to 4 a raised to 4 plus x raised to 4. Here it is again a square plus x square and a square minus x square. Okay, and finally we'll factorize this, because again that is in the form of a square minus b square. So here This is my final answer. A plus x over here, and here it is a minus x. So please note it down, then we'll see the next question. Okay, now let us see the next question. Okay, so now next question is 4a square minus 4a square minus 9b square minus 2a minus 3b minus 2a minus 3b. Okay, so now up to uh, up till now we saw the question in which there were directly there was an identity of a square minus b square. Now definitely here again there is an identity of a square minus b square, but along with this there are some extra terms as well. Okay, so see here definitely I can apply the identity, so I will start with that only, and then I will check what I can do with the remaining uh, parts of this or remaining terms of the expression. So here I can write it 2a whole square, isn't it, minus 3b whole square minus 2a minus 3b. Okay, so now here I can apply the identity of a square minus b square, that is a plus b multiplied by a minus b. So a plus b multiplied by a minus b. Okay, now here if I see, this is the first term and these two terms, okay, minus 2a minus 3b makes another term. So to make it factorize further, definitely this remaining part of the expression should have either this or this. Okay, so here it is minus 2a minus 3b. Now if I take minus sign common from these two, let us see what I will get if I take the minus sign common. So if I take minus sign common, or in other words if I take minus 1 common, okay, I will get 2a plus 3b. Okay, actually this one is not need to be right. Okay, so simply it is I took minus sign common, or in other words I took minus 1 common, so definitely this will become 2a plus 3b. Okay, now here you can see, this is here it is 2a plus 3b, here again we have 2a plus 3b. Now I can take 2a plus 3b common. Okay, we discussed this thing already, that whenever we take minus sign common, we write each and every term within the bracket with opposite sign. So here these two were negative, so when I took minus sign common, I wrote these term with positive sign. Now from these two I can say I have 2a plus 3b common. So when I take this common, here I left with 2a minus 3b, and here I left with minus 1. So 2a minus 3b minus 1. This is my final answer. So please note it down, then we'll see the next question. Now let us see the next question. Okay, next is x square minus 4x. Next question is x square minus 4x plus 4y minus y square plus 4y minus y square. Now let us see how to solve this. Okay, do one thing. Think for a while that how you will proceed, then I will give you its solution. Okay. Okay, there are two ways to solve this. First, simply, if I take common from first two, yes, it is possible to take common from first two, as well as it is possible to take common from next. Let us start with that. Then we'll see that after taking common from first two and last two, is it possible to factorize it further? So, if I take x common, here I will get x minus 4. If I take y common, I will get 4 minus y. Definitely it is possible to take common from first two as well as from last two. But after that it is not possible to take common because there isn't any common quantity in these two which is same. So if we follow this method, definitely we won't be able to factorize it further. That means this is the incorrect direction, we can say. So definitely now either we have to shuffle the terms or we have to think about any identity. So here it is x square, here it is minus y square. Okay, even though if you want to shuffle it, see, first two have the common, but first and last do not have any common. Okay, first and first and third do not have anything common. First and last, again we can say they do not have any common, but they form an identity. So we do write these two terms together. So x square minus y square, then minus 4x plus 4y. Okay, from these two, here I can apply the identity, that is x plus y into x minus y. Over here, I can take minus 4 common, that gives me x minus y. Okay, if I take minus 4 common, I will get x minus 5. Now you can see these two have x minus y common, isn't it? So here I do write x minus y, and here it will become x plus y minus 4. So this is my final answer. So please note it down. Then we'll see the next question. Okay, now let us see the next question. Okay, next question is a raised to 4 minus a raised to 4 minus 1 upon b raised to 4 minus 1 upon b raised to 4. So again, definitely it gives an identity of square minus b square. Let us see how to solve this. A raised to 4 minus 1 upon b raised to 4. So first I do write these in the form of complete square in this way. Okay, I can write this a square whole square, and here I can write 1 upon b square whole square, isn't it? So this gives me a square minus b square. So a square minus b square. So here a plus b, okay, into a minus b. Okay, on solving it further, this remains as it is because there is a plus sign. We do not have any identity, but here there is a minus sign, so we can apply the identity. But before I apply the identity, I do write this in the that particular format. So here I can write a square. Okay, this is directly a square, and over here I can write minus 1 upon b whole square. Okay, so this is a square plus 1 upon b square. Over here this is a plus 1 upon b and a minus 1 upon b. Okay, a plus 1 upon b, a minus 1 upon b. So this is my final answer. Please note it down, then we'll see the next question. Okay, now let us see the next question. Next question is 1 upon 16 x square y square minus 4 upon 49 y square z square. So again, very first thing that should come in your mind, that minus sign is there, binomial is there, two terms are there. Now both terms we can write in the form of exactly square. So we'll start with that only. Here I do write 1 upon 16 x square y square minus 4 upon 49 y square z square. So here this can be written as 1 upon 4 square, and this is xy square. Here I can write 2 upon 7 square yz square. Or in next term I do write xy upon 4 whole square, isn't it? This is xy upon 4 whole square, and this is 2yz upon 7 whole square. Now this gives you exactly the identity of a square minus b square. So here I can say this will become a plus b multiplied by a minus b. Okay, so this is my final answer. There isn't any other possibility to factorize it further. Here definitely we have minus sign, but these two terms are not the complete squares. Definitely we can write them in the form of root and then complete square, but we won't do that because we have a rule that we'll factorize until we won't get the root sign. So this is the final answer. So please note it down, then we'll see the next question. Okay, now let us see the next question. Okay, now next is 3x cube y minus 3x cube y minus 243xy cube. 243xy cube. Okay, 3x cube y minus 243xy cube. So let us see how to solve this, or do one thing, try for a while, because it's a little bit different question. Definitely we are not finding minus sign is there, but neither this is a complete square nor this is a complete square. So think for a while that how you will proceed, then I will give it solution. Okay, so as I told you, it is not possible to convert these term in the form of a square minus b square directly. So in that case, what we have to do? See, here it is possible to take something common, isn't it? Here we can take common. First, we can take common x. Okay, as well as we can take common y. Let me check the question. It is 3x cube y. Okay, here it is x cube. I wrote x square. Okay, now here we can take y common as well as x common. Over here y we have y, over here we have y cube. So if I take y common, it is possible to take common from this term as well. Also I can take x common. So even though I take x y common, see, when I take x y common, here I left with x square. Here if I take x y common, I left with y square. Definitely complete square. But again 343 and 3, they won't be the complete square. That means we have to take 3 as well common. So actually I have to take 3xy common. So when I take 3xy common, here I will get x square only, minus over here I will get 81 y square. Okay, now this is not a difficult task to factorize this. The only different thing in this question was that first we have to take something common, so that remaining expression becomes the completely in the form of a square minus b square. So here 3xy as it is. Now here this is x square minus, I can write 9y whole square. So this will become 3xy. Now here x square minus y square. So a plus b, a minus b. X plus 9y, x minus 9y. So this is my final answer. So please note it down. Then we'll see the next question. Okay, now let us see the next question. It is x minus y minus x square plus xy. X minus y minus x square plus y square. Almost similar question we did in the same lecture only. The only thing is over here that you have to arrange these terms to set the expression in the given in the form of an identity. Okay, so see, if I write x minus y as it is, okay, then minus x square plus y square, okay, minus x square plus y square. Now I do write x minus y as it is. Now from these two I can take minus 1 common, so this gives me x square minus y square. Okay, so x minus y as it is. Now minus 1 remain as it is. Now here I can apply the identity of a square minus b square. So this will become x minus y, x plus y. Okay, now you can see that we can take x minus y common from these two, isn't it? X minus y can be taken common. So if I take x minus y common, here I will left with 1. Then minus 1 into x plus y. Okay, so finally here my answer is 1 minus x minus y. So x minus y into 1 minus x minus y. So please note it down, then we'll see the next question. Okay, now let us see the next question. A raised to 4 minus 16 okay, a raised to 4 minus 16 b minus c. Okay, a raised to 4 minus 16 b minus c raised to 4. Okay, so let us see how to solve this. A raised to 4 minus 16 b minus c raised to 4. So over here definitely again these two are complete squares, so just I have to write them in that form. Here it is a square whole square minus, here I can write 4 into b minus c. Okay, uh, see, this I can write as 4 square, and this I can write b minus c square, then again it's a square. Okay, this is 4 square and this is b minus c square square. So further I do write a square whole square minus, here I can write 4 b minus c square whole square. Okay, 4 square b minus c square. So now this is the form of an identity a square minus b square. So here I do write a plus b. Okay, a plus b. Then a minus b. So a minus b. This is a minus b. A plus b, a minus b. Here this remains as it is. At the max we can do that, we can apply the identity of b minus c whole square, but for a while I'm writing it as it is. Next step I will think whether I have to expand it or not. Here definitely I do check whether I can apply the identity of a square minus b square, not because minus sign is there. Now these two terms are, yes, they are completely square, so here I do write a square minus, see, this can be written as 2 square b minus c whole square. Okay, so here I do write this as it is, a square plus 4 into b minus c whole square. Okay, and this I do write a square minus 2 into b minus c whole square, then square. Okay, 2 square multiplied by b minus c square, I wrote 2 into b minus c whole square. Now this is a square minus b square. Again, before I apply the identity, I simplify this. Okay, so here I do write this as it is, a square plus 4b minus c whole square, and over here I do write a square minus 2b minus 2c whole square. Okay, so note it down up to this point, then we'll see its solution further. Okay, so let me write the remaining solution over here. So here I am noting down this as it is, a square plus 4 b minus c whole square. This remains as it is, and over here this is a square minus 2b minus 2c whole square. Okay, so this will become a square plus 4 b minus c whole square. Over here it is a square minus b square, that is a plus b. Okay, a plus b into a minus b. Okay, now last step is left, in which we'll open these brackets. So and then I will get our answer. So a square plus 4 b minus c whole square. Over here it is a plus 2b minus 2c. Then a minus 2b plus 2c. Okay, so this is my final answer. Okay, here plus sign was outside the bracket, so I kept these two terms as it is, that is without changing the sign. Here minus sign is outside there, so I have to change the sign of these two terms. So this is my final answer. So please note down, then we'll see the next question. Okay, now let us see the next question. Xy raised to 9 minus yx raised to 9. Okay, so again, if you see it, it is not possible to apply the identity of a square minus b square, because even though minus sign is there, neither this nor that term are in the form of complete square. But yes, it is possible to take something common. So let us start with taking common and then see what we are getting. So here what we can take common, x multiplied by y, that can be taken common. So as soon as I take xy common, here I get y raised to 8 minus x raised to 8. If you remember, this is I think third question in the same lecture, over where we got this type of expression. In first we got x raised to 8 minus y raised to 8. Then we got x raised to 4 minus x raised to 8 minus a raised to 8, something like that. And over here again the same thing. So let us see how to proceed. This is y raised to 4 square minus x raised to 4 square. So xy Now a square minus b square. So a plus b into a minus b. Now again it is as it is a minus b, a y raised to 4 minus x raised to 4. We can factorize it further by converting it in the form of a square minus b square. So xy, y raised to 4 plus x raised to 4. Now here y square square minus x square square. Okay, so xy, y raised to 4 plus x raised to 4. Over here again a square minus b square, that is a plus b, a minus b. So y raised to 2 plus x raised to 2, y raised to 2 minus x raised to 2. So now I am going to write the last step. This remains as it is. This remains as it is. This y raised to 2 plus x raised to 2 remains as it is. Over here y plus x into y minus x. So this is the final answer. These are the factors of the given expression. So please note it down. Then we'll see the next question. Okay, now let us see the next factorization. Now here we'll start a new concept. Okay, here we can say we finish the factorization related to the a square minus b square. Now next concept we start, that is splitting the middle term. Okay, now we'll factorize the expressions which are quadratic trinomial. Okay, it will be quadratic and there will be three terms. For example, we can say in standard form it will look like something this: ax square plus bx plus c. Okay, examples we can say x square minus 5x plus 6, 2x square minus 11x plus 9, and so on. These types of examples we will get, and we'll see how to factorize these type of the uh, algebraic expressions. So I'll give you some steps that how we have to follow. So suppose we have the expression ax square plus bx plus c. So very first step or very first thing that you have to observe, that the given expression should be in the standard form. That means there should be first term containing x square, then second term should contain x, and x means any variable, might be y or whatever. Definitely single variable will be there. So first term of power 2, second term of power 1, and third term must be constant. For example, if I say find the factors of this, so very first thing I do check whether this is in the standard form or not. Again I am repeating standard form, that means first term of this x square or variable square, second term of in second term power of the variable should be 1, and finally it should be the constant term. This is the very first thing we will check. Second thing, so over here it is okay. So now we can find the factor. How we find the factor, that I will tell you very soon. Okay, second thing that we have to check, that this term, first term must be positive. Okay, For example, if I say find the factors of 9x minus 3x square plus 5 for a while. So first thing I do write this in the standard form. This is not in the standard form. So I do write minus 3x square plus 9x plus 5. Okay, this is the first thing that I will do. Now second thing that I told you, that the x coefficient of x square should be positive. Here it is negative. So what I do, I will take minus 9 common and I do write in this form. As I told you, whenever we take minus sign common, we interchange the sign of each and every term. This negative become positive, this positive become negative, as well as this positive become negative. And then I will start the factors. So these two things you have to keep in your mind. First, the given expression should be in the standard form. The second thing, the first term must be positive. In the standard form, the first term must be positive. Now third thing, see, actually when we do write the given expression in the standard form, we'll say the second term as the middle term. Now we have to split this term. Split this term, that means we have to write this term in two parts. For example, if I take this x square plus 6x plus 8, this is suppose the question and we have to find the factors. So we have to split this. See, first two things I checked orally. The first thing that was, it is in standard form. Second thing, the first term is positive. So these two checks are okay. Then I will come to the third thing. Now third thing says that we have to split this 6x into two parts. Now 6x can be written as 9x minus 3x. As I am saying, you have to write it into two parts. So 6x can be written as 9x minus 3x, isn't it? It can be written as 10x minus 4x. It can be written as 2x plus 4x. It can be written as 3x plus 3x. So there are infinite ways by which we can split this term. So how to get the correct two terms by which we have to split? So for that, we won't take any way. We have to split in such a way that the two terms by which we will split must be factors of a multiplied by c. Okay. So what is a, what is c? See, if I compare these two, here coefficient of x square is a, here coefficient of x square is 1. So I can say a is 1. Here constant term is c, here constant term is 8. So I will say c is equal to 8. So a multiplied by c will be 8, isn't it? So now we have to find the factors of 8, and using those factors we have to split this. That means when we split the middle term, the combination of two terms must be taken from the factors of the a multiplied by c. Okay, so here factors of 8 are 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1, isn't it? So again I am repeating, first thing I will check whether the given expression is in standard form or not. Second thing I do check whether the first term after writing in the standard form is positive or not. If it is positive, well and fine. If it is not positive, take minus sign to make it positive. Third thing, now will come to try to start the splitting the middle term. To split the middle term, what we do, we'll find the factors of a multiplied by c. Okay, a multiplied by c. Again I'm repeating, a is the coefficient of x square, c is the constant term. So here it is 8, factors of 8 I wrote in this way. If you are able to write the factors directly, here it was 8, it was easy to write. Might be here you get 118, then you won't be able to write in that way. Even I won't be able to write in that way. I have to follow this method. So you should know how to find the factor, because 1 definitely will get at the end. 1 is factor of the given number. Okay, now we have to make two keys so that we'll get 6. Definitely x will include later on. So suppose I take these 3 in one group. So what I will get, 2 into 2 into 2, 8, and this 1 remain I am taking in another group. So 8 and 1. Now using these two, we have to check, is it possible to get 6? Using these two, that means either by adding or by subtracting. So neither 8 plus 1 gives you 6, nor 8 minus 1 gives you 6. Isn't it? That means this combination or this selection of grouping is incorrect. So now I will move to the next one. Suppose I take these two together and these two together. So what I will get 4, and over here I will get 2. Now is it possible to get 6 by adding these two or by subtracting these two? Yes. If I add these two, 4 plus 2, what I will get? 6. So this is the correct combination. Okay, so how I will proceed? I do write x square. Instead of 6x, I do write 4x plus 2x using these two, 4 and 2. So I write 4x plus 2x plus 8. Okay, now before I move further, there is a check, one more check. See here, I already checked whether these are the correct combination or not. But sometime, even though we get the addition same, we won't be able to factorize it further. So before you proceed, keep a habit to check. See, sum of these two, addition of these two must be the middle term. Yes, 4x plus 2x is the middle term. As well as product of these two must be the product of first and last, including the sign. Here it is 4x multiplied by 2x gives you plus 8x square. Over here, if you multiply the first and last, you can see you will get 8x square. So if these two things are correct, that means addition of these two must be middle, product of these two must be the product of first and last. And when I say first and last, it means I am considering the polynomial, or the expression is in the standard form. Okay, so this is in the complete form. Now we can proceed. Now it's very easy. You can see this is the almost first type or second type of the factorization. Over there 4 terms were given and we have to take common from first two and last two. So from these two I can take common x. So if I take x common, here I will get x plus 4. If I take 2 common, here again I get x plus 4. So now from these two I can take x plus 4. So here I will get x plus 2. So these are my factors. So it's not difficult after this. Even though I won't say it is difficult over here, but definitely here you have to apply your mind. First you have to identify whether the given expression is in the standard form or not, whether the first term of the expression is positive or not. Then you have to find the factors of a multiplied by c. Then you have to make the groups such that by adding or subtracting those groups you should get the middle term. Then you have to check whether the product of those two middle terms is the product of first and last term or not, and then you have to start taking common from first two and next two. So I hope this is clear to you. So note it down. We can say this is the very first question of this type. Okay, so note it down, then we'll see next question. Okay, so let us see the next question. Okay, you can say among the splitting the middle term, this is the second question. X square plus 4x, x square plus 4x minus 21. So first check, is it in the standard form? Yes. Is the first term of the expression is positive? Yes. So now we can start factors and splitting the middle term. For that, what you have to do, you have to find the factors of a multiplied by c. A is 1, c is 21. Okay, definitely it is minus 21, but while finding the factors we can ignore the sign. So it means we have to find the factors of 21, that are 3 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 1. Now what? Now you have to find two groups among these three so that you can get sum as 4 or the difference as the 4. So if I take this in the first group and this 1 in the second group, neither their sum nor their difference is going to give me 4, because 21 plus 1 is 22, 21 minus 1 is 20. So this is the incorrect combination. So now if I take this in the one group and this in the second group, that is 3 and 7, yes, their difference is 4. Their addition is not 4. 3 plus 7 is not 4. But now, when I say difference, it means either this or this. Difference means minus sign must be there. Okay, so 3 minus 7 is also known as difference. 7 minus 3 is also known as difference. Now, which among these two I will go with? 3 minus 7 is minus 4. 7 minus 4 is 7 minus 3 is 4. Now, over here, see the sign of the middle term, positive. That means we have to go with this. Okay, so here I do write the solution part. This is x square plus 4x minus 21. This is x square plus 7x minus 3x minus 21. Okay, now as I told you, when I do write these two terms, I will check one more thing. Okay, definitely difference is 4. Now I do check their product. Product is 7x multiplied by minus 3x. Product is minus 21x square. That must be the product of first and last. Yes, it is. X square minus 21 is minus 21x square. That means this selection is absolutely correct. Now definitely we can proceed further. For that, we'll take common from first two. Definitely you will find something common from first two. If this is correct, that means this combination is correct. So x is common from first two, so here x plus 7. Here minus 3 is common, so x plus 7. Now from these two I can take x plus 7 common, so I will left with x minus 3. So these are the factors of the given expression. See, this splitting the middle term is very, 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 very important. This will help you not only in class 8 and 9, 10th, 11, 12, whether you are going for A group or B group, even though you are going for the commerce group. Definitely splitting the middle term is going to help you a lot. So try to learn it in a proper way. We'll see so many questions related to this, but right now note it down. Okay, so that is all about this lecture. Now in next lecture we'll continue with this splitting the middle term. So be ready with solve these two sums at least once again, so that you'll get the concept a little bit more clear. So we'll meet in next lecture. Till then, bye, thank you, take care, stay at